Hey guys, welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Binner and Ash Paulson to discuss the latest rumors about the Nintendo Switch. So, let's get started. Alright guys, go figure that literally hours after I posted part 2 of our Nintendo 2017 discussion, that news would come out, or potential news, rumors rather, would come out about the launch lineup as well as the January 12th event. So, first up is the fact that Laura K. Dale reported this morning that Zelda may be a Breath of the Wild launch title, maybe a Switch launch title, according to a source from NOA. Now, on top of that, she came out right after saying she's also hearing that Mother 3, which we had been reporting for the last year or so, having been localized, will now also be shown off during the January 12th event, and will be a Switch Virtual Console game. So 2 very big rumors. Ash, I'm sure you're stoked for both of them. I'm actually not sure which one you're more excited for, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually really excited for both of these little bits of possible news, just because, I think probably all of us are guilty of this, but I know I am for sure. I had kind of gotten caught up in all the rumors we had been hearing, and I think I had kind of just convinced myself that Zelda wasn't going to make launch, and I just had kind of assumed that, and I was like, okay, well, that's too bad, I'll deal with it, whatever. But now that, between Koro and Laura Kate Dale's new rumor, I'm fairly confident that Zelda actually is going to make launch, and now it feels like another new wonderful surprise again, because I really had thought that it wasn't going to, and of course we don't have confirmation, but really, Laura's new rumor plus the Koro backup really makes me feel like it's not gonna miss launch. And the only thing that I find a little strange is if it is launch, if it only makes launch in the U.S. and nowhere else, I'm surprised Nintendo would take that risk with such a huge title. I mean, they've been messaging this title to their global audience for quite a while now, for years. And for them to then only release it in North America and presumably not Japan or Europe at the same time, that's a little surprising. I don't know if I believe they'd do that, but it's possible.
So to clarify, you're bringing that up because of the fact that her latest source is from NOA apparently, whereas I believe her previous source was from Europe, which meant that both rumors could still possibly be true, but that one, the first rumor of it not making launch might have applied only to Europe. What do you think about that, Derek?
I mean, that's the only way to have it, so she's right in all cases. Right. It also could just be a case of, there was some miscommunication, things changed within Nintendo, they thought they might not be able to make it, the translation went a lot quicker, or they had a much bigger team working on it to help get all this out. And to be fair, the European localization takes a lot longer because there's so many different languages that they need to cover. So you could almost sort of see it being a little later, and maybe not at launch, but also maybe just like a few weeks later, kind of the same way that I think Pokemon Sun and Moon came out over there, even though the games were had the translations in all cases, in all versions. I could pick the Japanese language when I started up Pokemon Sun and Moon, so go figure on that one. But at any rate, it makes sense to me. I do think, like Ash, that it is going to be a launch title based both on Koro and these new updates from Laura and this NOA representative. As far as where the disparity comes from the NOE, it could be late, or it could be they just they moved up the timetable and got it done a lot quicker than they expected. I'm really not sure.
Now, in addition to this, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I also believe that Emily Rogers came out today and said she was also one of the ones who originally said that Zelda might miss launch, and now she's saying, I expect to be right about Mother 3, but I expect to be wrong about Zelda.
Right.
Meaning that she also thinks now that it could make launch, which, I mean, all those ducks in a row, I mean, I feel like the writing's on the wall. Of course, official confirmation is official confirmation,
right, exactly.
But the writing's on the wall, and it really does feel like this could be a launch title now.
I mean, I feel like that's something we've all thought up until relatively recently. Breath of the Wild has always been the obvious Switch or NX at the time launch title. It's only the more recent rumors that kind of threw that into disarray. And even though, I think Laura K. Dale is a very reliable source, but obviously when you're dealing with rumors, even Laura K. Dale has mentioned the stress she's had about these rumors, whether, how accurate they may be, things can change, and, how that reflects upon her. I think she's a very reliable source, or her sources are very reliable, at least. However, all this time, the one or two rumors I wasn't buying was Mario being launch and Zelda coming out in June. I mean, I've entertained the idea, of course, just because of how reliable everything else has been, or how accurate everything else has been. Those are the two that just never quite sat right with me. Zelda, like I've always said, Zelda was going to be a launch title or holiday title, and I still feel that way. I feel like if Zelda doesn't somehow make launch now, it will be holiday. I don't see Zelda coming out in summer, so it being launched makes perfect sense to me. And as for Mario being a launch title, like, so now I'm seeing some people throwing around the idea that maybe Mario's a launch title too. No!
Why would they do that?
That's not awful. Happening. Get that out of your head. You're setting yourselves up for disappointment. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be awesome to have those two, but that's not happening. Even if they didn't cannibalize each other, which I think there would be some degree of, but it may not be that bad. I think the driving reason is those are big games. Spread them out. You know, give them some time to breathe. You want people to pick up Zelda and then look forward to the next thing that comes after that. You don't want, 2 weeks after the Switch to come out and everyone's beating everything on it and there's nothing coming down for another month or two or a couple months. So, yeah, and also beyond that, I also don't think Mario's would be launched because they haven't even officially announced it yet. I don't think there would go from the official reveal in January to it coming out 2 months later. They've never done that before, as far as I know, with a mainline Mario game. So what I'm getting at is, it's a long-winded way of saying, this all makes sense to me. This all makes sense. Zelda Breath of the Wild has always made sense as a launch title, and I think that's a great one to launch with, especially given all the recent marketing they've done for it, with it being on Jimmy Fallon, with the images coming out every week or two, or a couple images coming out every week, and then also the fact that they opened the Switch reveal trailer with Breath of the Wild. This is their tentpole game for the system right now. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it makes sense as a tentpole game. If you're going to try to sell the idea of a console that can also go on the go and have the same caliber of games in both cases, Zelda Breath of the Wild is a great one to show that off because it's a big, open-world, beautiful game. I mean, who knows what the final quality is going to be. I'm expecting it to be pretty great. But again, this really shows off what the system can do, and see somebody walking around with a Switch playing Breath of the Wild, looking over, it's like, damn, you're playing Zelda on the go. How you doing that? Tell me about it. What's going on here? And that might work into the strategy. Also, the fact that people have been dying for this game for a very long time.
Years.
So, yeah, people are ready to play.
Yeah, well, and also, when you take all the rumors out of it and you just look at it from a common sense point of view, I mean, Andre, you and I were having this conversation last night, and you made a great point. You were just mentioning Jimmy Fallon and everything. Why, if you just look at it from common sense, why would they be showing off Zelda and making such a big deal about it, and then show off Mario for 2 seconds in this Switch reveal trailer and make that be the launch title and not Zelda? It's so easy to get caught up in these rumors, but yeah, when you take all that out of it, it really makes no sense. Why would that be their launch title, something we've barely seen, versus Breath of the Wild, which is a game we've been seeing for years now?
I mean, the only explanation, which is the one that went with the rumor, is that Zelda's just not done yet. But
exactly.
I mean, it's weird. On the one hand, it's hard to imagine that being the case after all these years, but on the other hand, that's exactly why I could see that being the case, because they've already delayed it so many times. But it's getting to the point where, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's common sense, whether from a consumer or Nintendo's perspective. Like, you want Zelda there day one with the Switch.
Well, and I think Jimmy Fallon is really the damning point here, because, I mean, why would they have Zelda, specifically Zelda, the first time we've seen the Switch version of Zelda, by the way, on Jimmy Fallon 4 months out from the console's release? It just doesn't add up if Zelda's not going to be a launch title.
I mean, I guess the counterpoint would be, what else would they have to show on the Switch? But then the counterpoint to that would be, why would they bother showing the Switch at all if they...
Right.
Wasn't going to
I mean, I guess they could, January 12th, would be the last chance, I feel, for them to say, okay, it's about 3 months out from launch. Sorry, guys, Zelda actually isn't going to make launch, but here's what is. I feel like if we don't hear about a Zelda delay on January 12th, it's coming out at launch. It has to be.
Oh, yeah. Without question. I mean, they're already gearing...
Yeah.
I mean, their marketing has to be almost locked into this point.
Exactly.
So I don't see that changing. I mean, if anything, there'd be a massive day one patch to fix whatever they can't before release.
Right.
Also the fact that they went all in on Zelda at E3. It'd be kind of embarrassing to go all in and all of a sudden next E3 come around, it's like, don't worry guys, here's a little bit more of a taste for it. It's coming in November, trust me.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to have it at launch, to go all out for this one case, show people what it's capable of, get people excited, show it off at Jimmy Fallon for everybody else, and then right there's your premier launch title for the Switch.
Yeah.
As you said, Andre, this is all really lining up into place after you take out all the rumors, even though the fact that we're basing this entire discussion
on rumor.
On a rumor.
On rumors.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and I'm totally open to the fact that I'll be wrong, and I'll eat crow if I am. I won't be happy about that, but I mean, this just makes sense. Like, everything we've seen, if you ignored the rumors, or some of these recent rumors, like, there was nothing that... There would have been nothing to make me question Zelda not being a launch title, so... Or being a launch title, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, so going with that notion, Ash, I know you in particular would, really didn't like my thought that, hey, if it misses launch, it'll be a holiday title. Although on the other hand, if it missed, if it wasn't holiday, it'd be a launch. But how happy are you now knowing that this could be, in fact, a launch title? That we could be playing this in a mere 2 months. 2.5 months.
No, I mean, that's incredibly exciting. I mean, I really wasn't expecting to play this until, later this year, probably after Sonic Mania. Yeah. So the fact that we could really be playing the final version of the retail version of Breath of the Wild in a couple of months at the Switch's launch is incredibly exciting. And so is the next bit of news I know we're about to discuss.
That's right. Well, good segue there.
Thank you.
So, another rumor that came out, as I touched on earlier, is right after this, Laura K. Dale announced, or said, rather, that Mother 3, coming to the Switch's Virtual Console, it will be shown off during the January 12th event. And I don't think this part she had heard herself, but I think she said she's guessing it's going to be Q2 release. Is that what I recall?
Yeah, second quarter release.
Yes.
Yeah. So, again, Ash, I want to start off with you here. How stoked are you, if that is true? Well, first off, I mean, yeah, do you believe that? And two, how stoked are you if you do?
I believe it, and if it's true, I feel somewhat not only stoked, but also somewhat vindicated, because I've been saying for a while, obviously I've been really wanting to Mother 3 to be launched in 2016, but especially based on Emily's rumor, but, things change, it didn't happen. I 100% believe that at some point, Mother 3 was going to be released on Wii U in 2016, but I think those plans must have changed when the Wii U died an early death, and they're like, well, wait, we don't want to blow Mother 3 on Wii U, so let's push it back. And so if this is true, this lines up exactly with what I've been saying, that it was held back for Wii U and will now be released on Switch Virtual Console, which makes perfect sense to me. I mean, this is a game that fans have been clamoring for like 15 years now. Why would they blow that load on Wii U, Especially as it's dying. It's in its last year. It was in its last year. So, yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I'm just glad to hear any signs of life at all, because I believe, even as Laura herself said, this is like the phantom rumor. This is the rumor that has not died and will not die, but it doesn't completely go away, but nothing ever materializes. And so fans are just kept left waiting and wondering and waiting and wondering. But no, maybe finally this is it. It's coming out on Switch. And I have to say, that would make a lot of sense.
This is a risky rumor for her to put out. I'll put it that way, because
yes.
And this rumor, the whole thing with Mother 3 coming out on Wii U, is basically, and it not happening, is basically what caused Emily Rogers to make her Twitter private and go away, because people were so upset about it not being true at the time. So it is that phantom rumor, but it's also a really risky one that, again, if it's not true, if Mother 3 is not at that January 12th event, people are going to be very upset, despite the fact that Laura Kate Dale has gotten a lot of stuff right. She has been on point, I'd say 90% of the time. So yeah. It just goes to show the amount of confidence she has in these rumors and things that she's been hearing from people within her sources, or wherever they come from. But as far as having Mother 3 on the Switch, I agree with you, Ash. It makes complete sense to put it on the Switch rather than the Wii U. The Wii U was, by that point, on its way out. Get this big game out there, get people excited for the Virtual Console service, because that's a big game to put on the Virtual Console. Right. Sort of the same way people got really excited when Earthbound was put on the Wii Virtual Console. Same with Earthbound Beginnings. Like, these games are something to get that core audience really excited for that platform, or for the Virtual Console, at least for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, and Mother 3 is in a relatively unique situation in that it's a relatively modern game that's never come out officially stateside. Granted, there were those fan-made translations, which evidently were really good, but I can't imagine their reach was nearly as broad as a Virtual Console will be able to reach.
Right.
Like I myself, I tried playing them, and the lag on the emulator was just too much for the battle system. I'm like, I'm playing this game suboptimally. I don't want to play it this way. So I'll just wait for the official release. And thankfully, that's finally happening, or evidently, hopefully, finally happening. Again, this is all rumor, so keep that in mind, guys. But I very much, I believe this is probably true. And I'm really excited. Like, I loved Earthbound. That was that game is such a fun game to even go back to still. And being able to play a game like that that I've been wanting to for almost 15 years now, I think, over 10, 15.
Yeah.
That's going to be something, and that is such a great game to launch with. And it's a situation that probably wouldn't come up again. Like, what other big non-localized games do they have of Mother 3 caliber?
Not much.
Right.
Well, I remember there was the other lore rumor that stated that 100% the initial Virtual Console offerings on the Switch at launch are definitely going to disappoint people. But if she's predicting that Mother 3 will be Q2, then we may be looking at a disappointing Virtual Console launch with some exciting stuff coming in, April, May, June, like Mother 3.
Yeah. That's entirely possible. And the thing is, Nintendo even has kind of a big risk involved when it comes to Mother 3, because people love that fan translation because it kept everything about the original Japanese translation that people liked. It didn't censor anything. It didn't remove any content.
Even had swear words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It maintained that. Nintendo is going to change some things when it comes to this translation. And depending on what they change, people will be upset. Even if they changed the littlest thing. Like, back in the day, I'm pretty sure people would have been upset. Like, why isn't Ness naked in this section? Why did you put him in pajamas? This makes no sense. This ruins the vision of the Japanese title. And even though it's like, no, I don't want a naked little boy running around, even if he is 16-bit. It's one of those things where Nintendo, if they can get this translation right and make people happy with it, it's going to be great. But I can so easily see people being upset about them ruining the integrity, in quotes, of this game.
That really is a unique problem to this game. Typically, games have been retranslated. I don't know if they've been done so by fans. I'm sure they have. But we've seen it with Chrono Trigger, where they redid the translation for that game on the DS. And in that case, you're going from an official translation to another official translation. I don't think we've ever have we ever had it before where there is a really well-received fan translation before you get the official translation. This is, no matter what, as you mentioned, Derek, there are going to be some ruffled feathers here. It doesn't matter how good of a job Nintendo does, there are going to be ruffled feathers, because we have something people are already basically considering canon, or the official version, because to the translator's credit, I think one of their main goals is to stick as close as possible to the original version of the game. So any straying from that is going to draw attention.
Right, and you really touched on something here, Derek. They really are in a pretty precarious position with this game, because Mother 3 specifically, I played it. I played the Virtual Console version, or not the Virtual, obviously not, the emulated version. And I won't go into any specific spoilers, of course, but there are these characters called the Magypsies. And they are described as being neither feminine nor masculine, but they get both gender pronouns, and they also kind of flirt with Lucas. So, they're kind of treated as typical cross-dressers in terms of like Japanese culture in this game. So obviously there's a lot of really sensitive ground to cover here, and fans are going to be going through this Virtual Console version with a fine-tooth comb, seeing exactly what they changed from the fan translation. And these are pretty sensitive social issues right now, so I'm really curious to see how Nintendo's going to handle this, because as you said, Derek, they're in a really interesting position here, and a very precarious one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Things are going to change. I can guarantee you that. To what degree they'll change, I have no clue. Like, I'm trying to think how they would change like that situation to make it work. And I think I've seen these characters before. I would say the easiest thing that they could do is just make them women. But I don't think they look exactly like women. They look like sort of that stereotypical transgender person where it's like a woman's hair with a half-shaved
like a
beard.
Masculine body type.
Yeah.
No, it's very stereotypical. So there are so many ways. There's so many pitfalls Nintendo could fall into with this, which, and I wouldn't even blame them if they said, if they threw their hands up and were like, screw it, we know the fans want this, but there are too many ways we can screw this up. So I'm glad that seems not to be the case. But I'm just really curious how they can possibly do this without pissing off somebody. It's going to have to be.
Its saving grace might be the fact that it is going to be a digital release. So True. It might be a little bit more Wild West in that case, and then you might be able to just be like, okay, it isn't like something being on retail. It isn't something that's going to get super noticed in the grand scheme of things. Let's risk a little bit here, maybe. I don't know. It could be, holding true to what Nintendo typically does. We have no idea.
I think they could probably slap like a T rating on it and get away with it.
That's a good
being
one.
A digital only release, I think.
And it would actually, beyond just being true to the source material, this would be a great way for them to win back some of that goodwill they've lost with some of their other, if you want to call them missteps, in terms of localization. I don't know if I would refer to them as missteps, but I know some people would. So that might be a good way to help win back some of that demographic they may have upset earlier.
Yeah.
I honestly can't see that happening, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know it is Nintendo, so that'd be
No,
nice.
I agree. I mean, I think that would be a good way to win back. I think it would be a great way to win back that goodwill, but I don't see Nintendo doing it that cleanly and finely. I feel like there's going to be some boneheaded localization decision made that a bunch of people are going to get out of sorts about and probably make bigger than it is, and the rest of us will still enjoy the game.
Right. Okay, Ash, I have a question for you. What do you want more? Mother 3 on Virtual Console or GameCube on Virtual Console?
Mother 3.
Okay, all right.
I mean, because that's just a purely. I have a GameCube
Yeah.
and I have a Wii that's still hooked up, so
Right.
it's a purely selfish answer.
Yeah. How about you, Derek?
I mean, if this is soft truth, it also confirms that Game Boy Advance Virtual Console games are coming back. So that's a cool
true.
little tidbit as well. Personally, I agree with Ash. I think it's more interesting to have Mother 3, even though I still have my GameCube. It's hooked up for streaming purposes, even though it's going to be really cool to hopefully experience some games that I missed out on the GameCube and just have an easier way to play them and play them on the go. But I would have to give it to Mother 3.
I guess one more question related to this is, what do you think this is going to cost? I feel like this is a discussion we had before, but now that it seems like even more real, hopefully, what do you think they can get away with charging for this? Because I have a feeling it might come in at a premium, just given the amount of work they've had to put into it. This is unprecedented, really, with them giving a never-released game a brand new translation, especially on Virtual Console, which is a service where they sell these games at less than retail prices.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, localization work isn't cheap, and this game obviously had to have a ton of it. So I'm thinking they could maybe come in at I feel like $14.99 is too cheap. Actually, I want to say it might be even more like $20.
Yeah.
$20 or $24.99, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my default was 15, but I could easily see 20.
Yeah.
I was going to say 15 as well, but when you say that, yeah, it could easily be 20, because Earthbound itself is also a premium. It's more expensive than other SNES games.
Exactly.
So it's going to be more expensive than the whatever other games surrounding it. But here's the thing. I think people that had been waiting for this game for a long time, they might complain, but they're still going to pay that $15, $20 to finally play it.
And it is effectively a new game. It's, assuming you didn't import, it is a new game. It's never come out here before.
Yeah, you could just consider it an eShop title, really.
Yeah, basically. I'm actually kind of surprised they're not considering it that. I mean, maybe they will.
I wonder if that's how they'll market it. I wonder if they'll market it as a Virtual Console title or as an eShop title. Because if they market it as an eShop title, they can charge more for it without people getting angry.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a good point. It is weird how just branding it differently will affect perception, right? So
yeah, it really is.
Okay, guys, that covers the two rumors, but there is one more I want to touch on real quick, because this was another kind of a big one recently, related to the Rabbids and Mario RPG crossover we had heard about. Because Laura Kate Dale recently added to that and reaffirmed this morning that she had heard Grant Kirkhope is composing for this game. So, I was already intrigued before, if only because I wanted to see what the hell this was. But when you mention the words Grant Kirkhope in combination with anything, my interest goes up at least 100-fold.
I mean, it's just one of those weird things. It's like, what the hell kind of game are we getting in for?
Right?
Like, we got something with Mario, Rabbids, and Grant Kirkhope, which...
That's an RPG.
Yeah, that's an RPG. It's like, has he ever scored an RPG before? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think he has, but at the same time, this feels weirdly appropriate. Even though he hasn't scored an RPG, I could also... I'm not all that surprised seeing his name on this game. I mean, I am, but at the same time, okay, that actually works for a game that I imagine Mario and Rabbids RPG will be like. So, I mean, yeah, I'm super excited to have Grant Kirkhope attached to this game, and honestly, as much as I don't care about the Rabbids, him scoring this game might be enough to get me interested. Like, that alone might do it, just because, yeah, I don't care about the Rabbids from a character standpoint, but hey, if you dangle that carrot in front of my face, hey, the guy who composed Banjo-Kazooie's music, he's doing this game's music, that might do it for me. That might be enough, I gotta say. So, in that sense, it seems like either Nintendo or Ubisoft or both seem to have a really good, they have their finger on the pulse of what fans might really want from this game. So that's kind of cool to see.
And to add a little bit more smoke here, Grant Kirkhope had recently teased he was involved with a super secret project he wasn't able to talk about, which that tweet came out just, I think, a day or two before Lowercase Dale's, or maybe even a few hours before.
Yeah, exactly. She retweeted that tweet and then saying it now, it's that secret project is the Mario Rabbids RPG.
I just want to throw out there, like, how lucky we are as human beings to be able to experience 2 games with Grant Kirkhope's amazing music within just months of each other, presumably. Because
That's true.
If this is in fact a launch game or thereabouts, then we have a Yooka-Laylee just a couple months later. How great is that? 2017 is already shaping up to be a better year than 2016.
That's true. I mean, at least for Nintendo fans, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Are you even more excited now for the Switch than you were before?
Yeah, straight up. I mean, I was never not excited about it, but now that we're so close to the date, and now all these things that we didn't know about keep getting revealed, like, it just feels like there were a lot more surprises than I think maybe I was expecting, and that's got me really excited to see what this is all going to be about, what they're going to announce. And we got Mother 3 potentially now, and Zelda making launch. I mean, we're looking at a new game, basically. Like, the game's changed a bit from what it was about a month ago, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to have to talk about on the 12th and ready for launch.
Well, and related to surprises, I think, weren't you saying earlier, right before we started recording, that you fully expect even more leaks to come out before the event?
I mean, we're in that. I don't know if they'll be real leaks or fake leaks, but we're in that kind of, danger zone of 10 days prior to a big Nintendo event, which means we're going to start seeing a bunch of, quote-unquote leaks pop up on Reddit and 4chan. Whether they're real or not, that's for us to decide, and that's what's so fun about it.
Well, there were the reports that magazines apparently got the lowdown on the Switch in preparation of being able to have an issue out shortly after the January 12th event, which means there's potential those could come out, whether, like, if they hit the printing press early, like, someone there could just snap pictures of it, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild card up until the 12th, that's for sure. And I'm not in some ways I'm like, I just want to skip ahead to the 12th because I'm not looking forward to covering all this crap and having to go through it. It brings me back to the horror days of, like, getting close to Smash's release and having all of those rumors and all those leaks to come out. It's just like, just get me through it, get me the real information. And in that way, I'm still very excited for the Switch, but this information also hasn't, I don't think it's made me more excited. It just makes me like, oh, okay, that's what's going to be there. Cool. Let's get it. Let's bring it on. Because I've reached fatigue. Exactly. Yeah. I'm rumored fatigue. I'm just at my peak. Show me it. I will get more excited once you give me some solid details. But I have reached the point now where, because we're so close, I don't care anymore about rumors. Just get me the real stuff. See,
for me, it's like an inverse bell curve, right? Like, the initial rumors got me excited, then it dipped, and I'm like, all right, this is getting a little bit excessive now. I want to hear some concrete info. But now that we're getting so close to the event, I'm on the upswing again. My hype's going up. I'm more receptive to these rumors again, especially ones that are good. And if Breath of the Wild is in fact a launch title, like, again, not only does that make sense, I'm personally stoked for that. I'm super stoked for Zelda. I won't play that as soon as possible. And also, on a more selfish note, I'm also excited that my analysis for Zelda will finally come to an end, because I really don't want to be making those for next year. So
I don't blame you. Yeah. And Andre, I think I'm in the same headspace as you. I kind of, like, for a while there in the middle, it got to be too much, and I was like, I'm so sick of these rumors. But now that we're nearing the event, now that we're nearing the big time, I'm getting more excited. But I will say that it also has to do with the nature of the rumor. Like, I am still kind of tired of, like, the zero effort, oh, my friend heard this and this is happening. I like the ones with some real effort put behind them, like the photoshopped ones, like the fake images and the box art and the, like, screenshots. I love that stuff. So
like the Mario Kart leak, the supposed leak that came out last night.
Exactly.
That was already proven fake.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, figuring out why we didn't believe that and figuring out why we thought that was fake was a lot of fun. And I always find that stuff fun to me, like all the Smash stuff, like figuring out which one. Like, I think But wasn't there some, I don't know, but there's some character art that came out that was obviously fake, and I don't know. I enjoy that stuff to a point. So I'm looking forward to the next 10 days, but if you were telling me that we were up for
all that does, Ash,
no.
all that does for me, Ash, is frustrate me, piss me off, and just make me want the actual article, the actual thing to come out.
It doesn't just frustrate you or piss you off, it does both.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
It drives me nuts because it's like
aggro.
I have to I just have to, because I have to look at it, figure out whether it's actually true or not. Once I do, it's like, oh, okay, that was a waste of time. Let's move on.
I love that.
It wasn't even
I have to
fun.
Look at it.
Exactly. Yeah. It wastes my time.
Well, I guess we'll have some pretty spirited discussions in the next 10 days then, I would imagine.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
I kind of
just bring on the 12th.
I kind of want more leaks now just to see how enraged Derek gets from this.
Seriously.
It's been nothing but rumors and stuff. Oh, yeah. God.
All right. Well, no matter what, Derek, it really is only 10 days away, so it is coming up soon. Exciting times. All right, guys. I think that about wraps up for us here. Thanks for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links to them in the description below, which is a good way to keep up to date on everything we post. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on the Switch and everything else as well. Okay, well, everything in Nintendo as well. All right, catch you later. Bye.